Hey, hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome. Sound is really low. I just adjusted it, so it's by the time you see me, it should be a little louder. Let me know if that sounds a little better. It's also the menu screen. The volume is a little low. It's the menu screen. Let's wait to see what happens in the game. As it happens, the splash when you're loading the game, which you didn't see, is about 10 decibels louder. And then the menu is quiet, and then we'll see what we get in game. Okay, yeah, my voice is separate though. Voice is separate. Voice has no bearing on the game volume. Wombat, right at the beginning, perfect timing. Hey, welcome everyone. This is one of my favorite games. One of my favorite games, and I did not play it when it was new. Hey Kim, what's going on? BD Gray, welcome. I don't know how many hours I've spent in this game. Maybe 500 hours in this game. Love the music. Really enjoy the story. The characters are fantastic. This is a series that has changed a lot. We'll get to talk about it. We're going to play all 3 games in the series and all the DLC. Don't worry about it, Shadow Dragon. Don't worry about it yet. We're not in game yet. You can't hear in game volume too much. We're not in game yet, so don't worry about that. Let's wait and see what happens. What is the game about? The story is actually told fairly well, fairly clearly. So why don't I start the game and let the introduction to the game tell you what the game is about? We're going to get a lot of opportunity to discuss things. I'm hoping to be able to be more involved in chat during this than some of the action games we've been playing. It's a turn-based role-playing game, so you can pause at any turn during combat, although you can try to play it in real time. It gets to be a real cluster if you do. What's up, Densa? Hyperino! Definitely. Dragon Age, 3 games. Origins, Dragon Age 2, Inquisition. 2 is often considered the black sheep of the Dragon Age family. But we don't need to talk too much about that yet. We'll get there. We'll get there. Origins, by many accounts, has the best character work, writing. There's so many things about it that are stronger than the later entries in the series, even though some things have been improved. I liked Inquisition, Gray. It just BD Gray at war on me. After 3 playthroughs, I started to take issue with things, and it was my fault for playing it back to back 3 times. C-Star, what's going on? Welcome. Let's dive right in. You can see the introduction. We're going to have a lot of chances to talk about this. The game is not just going to run away with the story. The pacing of the game being a turn-based and isometric RPG, if you play it that way, pull a camera out, look down on everyone, a little bit more like Baldur's Gate. Games like that. You can also zoom it in and go over the shoulder. I'll be doing a little of both, but in terms of strategy and actually setting up the fights in the game, you move through rooms. You might position your party by the entry doorway, archway to a room and create a choke point and wait for the enemies to come storming through and prepare a bunch of spells to blast them the moment they come through the doorway. There's all sorts of strategy in Origins that disappears in the later games. So I'm going to enjoy playing that again. It's been a couple years since I've played this, and we will get to talk about it. I would like your feedback on where this game series began and where it went to. Doc, the knee is okay. I saw a PT today. She said I stretched everything but snapped nothing. Instead of bending like this, my knee probably bent like that. Very briefly, just everything on the backside got stretched. My thigh muscles are not firing properly, so I have a lot of instability when I try and walk on that leg, but more of that is because of my muscles than the knee. Not so much the knee as the swelling and tenderness in the thigh muscles. They don't want to work. I guess that's why I'm all wobbly. And the knee itself, things are just strained and stretched. Thank you for asking. I hope you're doing well, Doc. You've got far more serious things going on. Your healing is a much bigger deal. I'll be going back to see the PT in 2 weeks, and hopefully to just, it's just a slow healer. Hopefully to find out that things are okay. Got a little ultrasound treatment and a regimen of stretches to do.
Patching it through.
Nazga, welcome. Thank you for the host. Dragon Age Origins was supplemented by a piece of DLC, a full expansion. Who does game expansions
Message
anymore?
coming in.
It's so rare.
Patching it through.
Smoke and Dank, thank you for the host as well. Thank you, and welcome. Awakening is more like what CDPR has done with The Witcher. With Blood and Wine, Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine, those are considered DLC, right? But they're really game expansions. They open the whole game up. They add a large amount of extra content. Not a lot of games do that anymore. Not a lot of game developers do that anymore. That's what Awakening is. We might get 50 or 60 hours out of Origins and another 30 out of Awakening. I don't know if this is going to be 100 hours in Dragon Age Origins, but enjoy. Let's begin. And so is the Golden City blackened with each step you take in my hall. Marvel at perfection, for it is fleeting, and you have brought sin to heaven and doom upon all the world. Canticle of Threnodies.
The Chantry teaches us that it is the hubris of men which brought the Darkspawn into our world.
Message coming in.
The
Patching it through.
mages had sought to usurp heaven, but instead, they destroyed it. They were cast out, twisted and cursed by their
Message
own
coming in.
corruption.
Hey, KG, thank you for the host.
They returned as
everyone.
monsters, the first of the Darkspawn.
Men sought the secrets of heaven.
They became a blight upon the lands, unstoppable and relentless.
They returned from their
The
journey
Dwarven
changed.
kingdoms were the first to fall. And from the deep roads, the Darkspawn drove at us again and again, until finally we neared annihilation. Until the Grey Wardens came. Men and women from every race, warriors and mages, barbarians and kings. The Grey Wardens sacrificed everything to stem the tide of darkness, and prevailed. It has been 4 centuries since that victory, and we have kept our vigil. We have watched and waited for the Darkspawn to return. But those who once called us heroes have forgotten. We are few now, and our warnings have been ignored for too long. For I have seen with my own eyes what lies on the horizon. Maker, help us all.
The background you select will determine which of 6 distinct opening stories you play through. It also affects how characters respond to you throughout the game. Dragon Age Origins, there are 6 origin stories. And if you find that you like this game, there's a good reason to go and play them all. It does shake things up quite a bit. Cooler still, let's say you pick an origin story that starts you in the Mage's Tower. Things will happen, hence your origin. Let's say you don't pick that mage, and you pick a human noble. We will. We will eventually make it to the Mage's Tower, and we will have a different perspective on the events that took place at the Mage's Tower. If you start as a mage, that's your origin. But if it's not your origin, you still go there, and it's different. Likewise, if you start the Dwarven cities, there are events that take place there that you are part of as your origin.
Bird on the baby!
What's up, Snowy? Welcome. Good timing. Character creation. Perfect timing. Welcome. I love the music in this game fair. So, there are different classes, there are different races. Of course, you can pick your gender too, but the different origin stories are not small. They're a big part of the game, and they weave together. So if you start with one, you get to experience the others in a different manner than you would if you had picked them as your origin. Does that make sense? I suggest you try them all out. Race. You can be a human, the most numerous, yet the most divided of all the races. Only 4 times have they ever united under a single cause, the last being centuries ago. Religion and the chantry play a large part in human society. It distinguishes them culturally from elves and dwarves more than anything else. Humans can be warriors, rogues, or mages. There are, much like a D20, a Dungeons and Dragons style role-playing game, there are a lot of stats to play with, racial benefits, things like that. Entropic, greetings! What's going on? You just roll in here. Wait, where are you? I see people saying hi. There you are. There you are. Mad Matt, what's going on? Hey, I don't know. Matt, some days chat is lively, some days chat is quiet. You can play an elf. Once enslaved by humans, most elves have all but lost their culture, scrounging and impoverished living in the slums of human cities. Only the nomadic Dalish tribes still cling to their traditions, living by the bow and the rule of their old gods as they roam the ancient forests, welcome nowhere else. Elves can be warriors, rogues, or mages. You can play as a dwarf, rigidly bound by caste and tradition. The dwarves have been waging a losing war for generations, trying to protect the last stronghold of their once vast underground empire from the Darkspawn. Dwarves are very tough and have high resistance to all forms of magic, thus preventing them from being mages. Classes. You can pick a warrior. These are background. Don't actually, it's curious, I had forgotten that's how they portray things here. Warrior class sounds like a standard class, right? Warrior, magi, and rogue. The fact that it kept changing the box to human noble, that kept throwing me off. The background kept changing to the description kept changing to the background instead of the class. What is it doing? What is it doing? Lamia, get your message. No, it's not. I have a reason for it. There's a reason for that. Get rid of it for now. Just take my word for it. There's a reason for it. Warriors, powerful fighters focusing on melee and ranged weapons to deal with their foes. They can withstand and deliver a great deal of punishment and have a strong understanding of tactics and strategy. Specializations come later for a warrior include Berserker, Templar, Champion, and Reaver. Hello, Zane. Hello, hello. I like the intro quite a bit. I mean, the one we watched, the cutscene. 6 years old now, 7 years old now. I wish it were rendered more clearly, but I do like it. I like the setup that it portrays. Magi. Wielding a power as dangerous as it is potent. You know that magic is a curse for those lacking the will to control it. You anxiously await your harrowing. The one chance to prove yourself against the demons lurking without and within. Succeed or be slaughtered by the knights who ward against your kind. I won't be playing the mage origin. We will still get to go to the mage's tower. The mage's origin is very interesting. Mages in this world are a bit different than classic wizards and sorcerers. They have these great powers, but the reason for their powers and the connection they have to a realm called the Fade and the demons that reside in the Fade and their susceptibility to being possessed by demons adds a lot of flavor to the spellcasters of the Dragon Age world. They are not your normal casters. They do normal caster things, but they have an incredible depth to their reason for being and the risks that come with that role. They're not just powerful, they are susceptible. And then there are rogues. Rogues are skilled adventurers who come from all walks of life. All rogues possess some skill in picking locks and spotting traps, making them valuable assets to any party. Truth, right there. Tactically, they're not ideal frontline fighters. Yeah, they can be. But if rogues can circle around behind their target, they can backstab to devastating effect. Rogue specializations are Ranger, Bard, Duelist, and Assassin. We're going to be playing a female, human, rogue, the noble family, the Kuzlins.
Greetings.
Greetings. Don't know why the character art there is going crazy. Hopefully it won't in-game. We'll have to figure out what's going on. You have preset base art. And as with many games I've played, you get set in your ways. You get used to hearing a voice and seeing a certain face, and it can be disorienting to switch. This is Alyssa Kuzlin in my mind. And I'm not going to go and change anything except maybe, I don't know, give her green eyes as kind of habit. Doesn't have to have green eyes. Also, hard to see from here. Close enough. Close enough. There aren't that many good rogue allies in Origin, so it works well to play rogue. True enough, I mean, I will probably end up with Leliana in the party a lot as well. That being said, I like playing a rogue, being able to open chests early in the game. The portrait doesn't just keep freaking out.
I've lost concentration. Greetings. Greetings.
Charmed.
I'm not sure that's really a sultry voice.
Greetings.
Or that is a violent one.
Greetings.
Go with the standard wise voice. Mad, I have not. No, I have not. Am I using mods? KG, I don't have any mods for this. When we get to Inquisition, I'm so sick of the character models, the default boring character model options. When we get to Inquisition, I think I'm going to install some mods, so we can at least have a better player character. But I don't have any mods installed for Origins. What are some good ones? Points to spend 5. Rogues, already high in dex. We're gonna eventually have a couple stats in the 20s. Even though we're a rogue, we're probably gonna end up with strength in the low 20s for something. I can't remember what, but there are reasons why we will end up with strength as well as dex. Not gonna be putting points into magic. Might be putting points into willpower. For warriors and rogues, willpower grants more stamina for combat techniques and special attacks. Not a top priority. But cunning and dexterity, as already shown here, are primary stats for a rogue. Cunning determines how well a character learns and reasons. Most skills such as herbalism or combat tactics require a quick mind to master and an observant eye. That can more easily find weaknesses in enemy armor. Rogues benefit most from this statistic, as many of their class abilities and special attacks rely on subtlety or reading the target, not raw strength. So KG, what mods have you used for the first one? What mods do you like? Yes, Shadow Dragon. I always pump up conversation. I do. to do that too. Old Blood Wolf, you personally made a default female elf mod? You've made a mod for the game for changing the default female elf? Pretty cool. Constitution, health, resilience directly increases the amount of damage a character can take before falling on the battlefield. Hit points, I'm not sure I want to pump that right off the bat, but when we get into the actual skills coming up, we'll see some of the requirements. Reasons we're going to have to maybe even back up and change some of these. I don't have a memory of my favorite starting attributes. So I think I might need 18 cunning very soon. There's gonna be, let's look. Let's take a look. Skills. At the moment, we can only spend 1 point. Each of the skills has 4 ranks. Are there any exceptions? Each of the classes has different skills available to them. Coercion. Character is influential enough to convince others to change their views. Actually, these are the skills available to... These are available to everyone. Things like stealing, trap making, survival. You can take a character who's not built for these things and still build them for these things if you really want. We're going to end up needing improved combat training. There will be things that depend on having 2nd, 3rd, and eventually 4th rank of combat training. But coercion is that speech skill, like persuasion in other games. If we want to have conversation options available, we want to rank that up as quickly as possible. The highest tier of coercion requires 16 cunning. I might back up a little bit. The highest tier of combat training doesn't have requirements, but other things will require it. Stealing, I've never been big on stealing.
You guys are my best friends.
Hey,
We've
Kim!
all been together. We're
Rock
part of a
and
clan,
roll.
having fun all day, palling around and laughing away. Just best friends are we. I love you guys.
Kim, thank you. 6 months and rolling on. You are awesome. Thank you for keeping that sub going. Thank you for the awesome support again and again and again. It's a full-on RPG. Yes, Speedy Gray. Full-on RPG. Turn-based, isometric, stats out the wazoo. Micromanaged inventory and items. All of it. Coercion. We want to get coercion pumped up, but maybe we won't need the 18 cunning so soon. Stealing, not going to use too much of it. Trap making, probably won't use too much of it. Never have. Survival, likewise, haven't used much of it. Herbalism, if I have 1 or 2 characters who can make basic potions or 2nd tier potions, Kim, you're a good man. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. Yes, she is. He's a good man. Improved herbalism. I don't think I've ever gone to expert or master herbalism with any characters. Poison making, I've never been big on making poisons. Poisons. Combat tactics. That's an interesting one. You can sort of program your party's behavior. You can micromanage it, but you can also automate some of it by giving them... has anyone played Final Fantasy XII? The way you can give your party a series of prioritized commands. You can do a lot of that here too. Something similar. Shadow Dragon, hold an item with both right and left click to sell it twice for 1 item. Never heard of that. Maybe I'll mess around with that. Then you can buy it back and sell it twice again. Okay. I'll keep that in mind. So, what are we doing here? We've already got improved combat training. We want coercion. We can only spend 1 now. Coercion it is. Talents. What they call talents here might be called skills or abilities in another game. what they call skills here, or sort of like, I don't know, base traits. I don't know. You can use so many terms in role-playing games in different ways. Attributes, stats, skills, abilities, talents. Different games use them differently. Our primary attacks and abilities are called talents here. Rogue has dirty fighting. Quick-stepping rogue can move, can more easily outmaneuver opponents, granting a wider flanking angle. Makes backstabs easier. Damage bonuses for backstabs. Easier backstabs is a good thing. Good thing. Combat movement requires 14 dex, then 18 dex, and eventually get a special move, Feign Death. Rogue collapses at enemies' feet, making them lose interest and seek other targets until the rogue gives up the ruse. Below the belt is a cool move, swift and unsportsmanlike kick to the target, dealing normal combat damage as well as imposing penalties to defense and movement speed unless the target passes a resistance check. I'm not going to read through every box, but as we actually look through them later to acquire skills, we'll read through more of them. You just found the YouTube channel, Matt. Excellent, excellent. It is there. It does get posted in the channel by the bot and by others. I like below the belt. Deft hands is critical because we are going to want to open locks, and even though we will have other rogues in the party who can, one of the benefits you get from playing as a rogue is more XP up front. Not so much the loot that you get out of the chest, but you get XP right off the bat for popping a bunch of locks in the opening of the game, and you just can't. And it'll be a while before you can start opening any good locks in the game if you're not a rogue yourself. That's fine. It's not a big deal. We'll eventually need 22 cunning for the maximum level of lockpicking. Stealth, also good. Taking any action beyond movement will break stealth. But you can basically become invisible and you can go exploring. You can scout ahead. Rogues have, until specialization comes into the game later, rogues have two primary sets of talents, of abilities here. Dual weapon and archery. You can do both. If you want to be an archer, you can be an archer. If you want to be a dual wield, a duelist, you can be a duelist. And that's actually a specialization class later. But you can also mix it up. I like to be a melee rogue. I will probably end up with some archery skills at some point. I like to be a melee rogue. Dual weapon training, it's your basics. Wielding two weapons. Traditionally, in Dungeons and Dragons and related games, wielding two weapons comes with penalties. You can't just go from, I do X amount of damage with a sword, well now I have two, I do double damage, I'm gonna kick your ass. It's only half true. There are penalties to mitigate the extra damage that you would get from having multiple weapons. So you might have a poor chance of landing that attack with your offhand. You might have a better chance with your primary hand, and you might have a very poor chance with your offhand. As you increase your dual weapon training, some of those penalties go away. Let's see if any of that is actually mentioned here. I don't know how much of that is described here. There is a mechanic like that. Maybe I was overthinking how much of that's in Dragon Age. Maybe there aren't so many penalties for the dual wielding, but you certainly get bonuses as you improve, and eventually you can wield full-sized weapons in both hands. I'm not seeing it here, but I think there are to-hit penalties for different dual weapon setups, depending on what they are. Balanced weapons. Certain weapons are easier to wield in an offhand, traditionally, in Dungeons and Dragons games. Okay. Dual striking, riposte, cripple, punisher, very cool attacks. Dual weapon sweep is probably my favorite. The sweep, whoosh, and then the flurry lashes out with a flurry of 3 blows, doing normal combat damage with each hit. Momentum, one attack carried forward to the next, and eventually whirlwind flies into a whirling dance of death, striking out at surrounding enemies with both weapons. Hey, Bob. What's up, Bob? How you doing today? this game is relatively slow in pacing, and so there's no rush. We're taking our time here. Half hour to get through character creation, and Dragon Age Origins is actually kind of low. So 2 points to spend. We want to start popping locks as soon as possible. We won't be able to get a second tier of lockpicking until level 4 anyways. Dual weapon training. Oh, there it is. It's mentioned right here. The character has become more proficient fighting with 2 weapons and now deals closer to normal damage with the offhand weapon.
Beat the man!
Woo! What's happening? S7, you missed the intro movie. You're going to be asking in 5 minutes, what's going on? Who are these people? What are these demons? S7, buddy, you should roll over to YouTube and watch Dragon Age Origins intro movie or something. You should go check that out. It'll help get you get your head in the game for where we're at. But because there is a penalty to the damage being done as a dual wielder, mitigating that penalty as quickly as possible is a good thing. I want to get dual weapon sweep, but we'll have more skills soon. I'm backing up to go to my attribute screen because I'm not sure I needed all that cunning right away. Not critical to mess with these things like I'm doing, just sort of thinking out loud and tweaking it for the sake of tweaking it, not for anything critical. More willpower, more stamina. More stamina can use more attacks, abilities. We don't even have abilities that are going to drain our stamina yet, but we will. 18 dex, 16 cunning, and then we start pumping things like cunning, dex, willpower, and eventually even some strength. There will be, I think it's an armor set. It might be one of the DLC bonuses, the Ultimate Edition bonuses. There's a really cool armor set I like, and I think it has a strength requirement that will keep it out of my reach for a little while. So I'm actually gonna put an early point into strength and put some into dex and put some into cunning. Gotta click through this again, but coercion, lockpicking, basic dual weapon skills, dual weapon finesse. Closer to normal damage with the offhand. There are 4 difficulty settings: easy, normal, hard, and nightmare. We're gonna play on hard. Let's see what the descriptions actually say. Considerably greater challenge than normal. To prevail against the more aggressive enemy AI, you will need to make sophisticated use of tactical pausing, as well as clever combinations of spells and talents. Friendly fire damage is no longer scaled down, and your party will not heal as easily. Enemies will inflict more damage, be encumbered by status effects for shorter durations, and demonstrate greater resistance to various damage types. That's plenty of a damage boost. Games have gotten softer in many ways. There aren't too many brutal difficulty games anymore. Some series are known for it. Nightmare, it really is a nightmare. It's a slog. There are times when your party will probably be obliterated in a fraction of a second by a group of mages, and again and again and again. Go big or go home, Nightmare or Riot. What I find, ProCyan, is that Nightmare becomes a pain in the ass. It really does. There are just parts in the game that are a pain in the ass. They're not more fun. Yes, it's cool to have a tactical analysis of the situation and carefully set up your party members to do to the enemies what the enemies do to you. But I gotta say, it is not fun for me. I have played the game on Nightmare and decided that I never wanted to play it on Nightmare again. We can maybe play Inquisition on Nightmare, but some of the fights in this game, especially with mages, I just hate them on Nightmare. They're not fun. They're not fun. It's a game. I want to have fun. So we'll do hard. There will still be some fights that that I find to be a bit of a slog, and I hope I don't get too cranky during them. What's up, Mike? Hi. The knee is okay. Knee is okay. I got, more than anything, I got reassurance from the PT that I didn't snap or pop anything in there. That it was just a bad strain. Probably bent the knee backwards when it buckled. So lots of strain, and I need some more time to heal.
For generations, your family, the Kuzlans, has stewarded the lands of Highever, earning the loyalty of your people with justice and temperance. When your country was occupied by the Orlesian Empire, your father and grandfather served the embattled kings of your land. Today, your elder brother takes up House Kuzlan's banner in service to the crown. Not against the men of Orlais, but against the bestial Darkspawn rising in the south.
I trust then that your troops will be here shortly.
I expect they will start arriving tonight, and we can march tomorrow. I apologize for the delay, my lord. This is
Subtitles.
entirely
I need to
my
get them
fault.
turned on.
No. The appearance of the Darkspawn in the south has us all scrambling, doesn't it? I only received the call from the king a few days ago myself. I'll send my eldest off with my men. You and I will ride tomorrow just like the old days.
True. Though we both had less grey in our hair then. And we fought all legions, not monsters.
At least the smell will be the same. I'm sorry, Pop, I didn't see you there. How? You remember my daughter?
I see she's become a lovely young woman. Pleased to see you again, my dear.
Subtitles should be on already. I thought they were on already. I can either restart the entire game because we didn't get subs in that little clip, or I'll turn them on as soon as we get out of the first dialogue. I'll go check. Subtitles should have been on. I always have subtitles on in games. If they're ever not on, oversight or an error. So we're gonna have, and I guess I am blocking this, so let's... I will probably be on the other side for this one then. If I jump over here, then you can see the dialogue options. As I brought here for a reason. And you, Arl Howe. Family here, Arl Howe. You're not leaving until tomorrow. The game is well voiced, including the player characters. But, you still have to pick. Keep in mind, this is the same company that did. This is classic BioWare, so they did Knights of the Old Republic, Mass Effect, and Dragon Age. These are all very much related in conversational styles and the way that the game's changed. They remain related to this day. The wheels that we see in Mass Effect that made their way into Dragon Age. But this is a lot like what we saw in Knights of the Old Republic. If you played the first Knights of the Old Republic, this will be very familiar. Lovely, lovely young woman. Pleased to see you again, my dear. Is your family here?
Oh no, I left them in Amaranthine, well away from the fighting in the south. They do send their best wishes. My son Thomas asked after you. Perhaps I should bring him with me next time.
Your player character has a voice, but most of the conversation options are not voiced. There is a lot of the voiced player character, but not every bit of dialogue. Son asked after you. Perhaps I should bring him next time. I have no interest in marrying your son.
See what I contend with, Hal? There is no telling my fierce girl anything these days. Make her bless her heart.
Quite talented, I'm sure. One to watch.
At any rate, Pop, I summoned you for a reason. While your brother and I are both away, I'm leaving you in charge of the castle.
You're leaving me in charge? What? Why can't I go into battle with you and Fergus? I'll do my best, Father.
Now, that's what I'd like to hear. Only a token force is remaining here, and you must keep peace in the region. You know what they say about mice when the cat is away, yes? There's also someone you must meet. Please, show Duncan in.
It is an honor to be
Nice
a
Duncan
guest
from the
within your
intro.
hall, Tyrn Kuzland.
Your lordship, you didn't mention that a Grey Warden would be present.
Duncan arrived just recently, unannounced. Is there a problem?
Of course not. But a guest of this stature demands certain protocol. I am at a disadvantage.
We rarely have the pleasure of seeing one in person, that's true. Pup, Brother Aldous taught you who the Grey Wardens are, I hope.
They defeated the Darkspawn long ago.
Not permanently, I fear.
Without their warning of the Darkspawn rising now, half the nation could have been overrun before we'd had a chance to react. Duncan is looking for recruits before joining us and his fellow Wardens in the south. I believe he's got his eye on Sir Gilmore.
If I might be so bold, I would suggest that your daughter is also an excellent candidate.
Honor though that might be, this is my daughter we're talking about.
Is there some reason I shouldn't join them?
You did just finish saying that Grey Wardens are heroes, old friend.
I've not so many children that I'll gladly see them all off to battle. Unless you intend to invoke the right of conscription.
Have no fear. While we need as many good recruits as we can find, I've no intention of forcing the issue.
Pup, can you ensure that Duncan's requests are seen to while I'm gone?
I also love her little, what do you call them? She's just got rubber bands on two little bits of her hair. Two little tails. I mean, they're not ponytails. What do you call those? They're like half little things. They're not pigtails either. What are they? They're awesome. That's what they are. Of course, Father.
In the meantime, find Fergus, and tell him to lead the troops to Ostagar ahead of me.
Fergus? Our brother Fergus? Where's Fergus?
Upstairs in his chambers, no doubt. Spending some last moments with his wife and my grandson. Be a good lass and do as I've asked. We'll talk soon.
Okay, let's go get subtitles and any options that need to be set. This should have been all taken care of. How about audio? Sound effects? No. Might be under video, but where did the show German shows? Oh, there it is. Subtitles, conversations, and ambient dialogue. Let's try that, and if it's too much, we'll turn that off. Video should be all good. Resolution, graphics, details. There's not a lot of settings. Vertical sync. There's blood. Where was the blood setting? I think it's on. Pretty sure the blood setting is on. Okie dokie. That's what is weird little graphical glitches. And I just noticed the map is doing that too, and the character portrait. And I don't have any mods installed. This is a fresh install off of. Well, that's messed up. Fresh install off of Origins. Let me do a quick look. Does anyone know what might cause this? If not from a mod, because I'm not using any mods, does anyone know what might trigger that? What the shortest path is? PC map, character, portrait, bug. Flickering. Origin flickering. Grumble. That's the game flickering. Sorry. Unless we want to just let it slide, I want to see if I can figure out what's going on. I might have to deal with it for now. Thank you, Shadow Dragon. I will consider doing that.
Good evening, milady.
I wonder if it's going to be intermittent or persistent. Don't think anti-aliasing would affect it. Frame buffer effects. Let me just try messing with things for a little bit. No, lower left corner does not have a glitch. That's something else. Are you trying to rattle me, man? I'm already rattled by this. Thanks. Changing the anti-aliasing setting fixed it, but changing it back to the previous setting and it still works. So it's not clear exactly what it is. Yes, Noel, I did actually. I let NVIDIA's tool tweak the settings, and it didn't actually tweak much, but it might have tweaked something in a configuration file that led to that. Maybe those adjustments I just made have fixed it. Maybe it's a temporary fix and the problem will be back. Let's not worry about it. We're all good. We're good. Oh, learn my controls again. How come I can't pull back into isometric mode? Is my scroll wheel not letting me scroll back into isometric? Can't zoom out. I might have tweaked the controls for some. Let me go back to default controls here just in case. All right, I don't know why I can't, we'll worry about it in a bit, but it's because we're still at the very beginning of the game. I am looking for why I can't scroll out and go into an isometric control mode. Actually, I prefer to play the game. You can move with the WASD if you want. Default controls needed to be tweaked when you play this. I'm fine with the default controls. I don't know what happened to the zoom quick bar, camera controls, zoom in. Oh, page. Scroll forward, scroll back, zoom in. Yeah, forward. My scroll wheel on my mouse is not being acknowledged here. Yeah, it just. Oh, bite me, game. Cancel. Did you see that? It wasn't acknowledging the scroll on my mouse. You can't see me scrolling, but that's why it's not working. I tried to reset the command and it wouldn't even take. Okay. Or page up, page down. There's isometric mode. So this is sort of a tactical view. And when you have a party and you want to pause the game and issue commands like have this party member move here, and then another party member move here, and then another party member move here, you can very quickly select individuals or the entire party. I'm going to need a refresher on all the controls as we go through it. But yeah, there's no gamepad support for this, BD Gray. I don't have a choice. I could use something like Pinnacle or GlovePie or whatever and map out my own controls, and I've done that before, but the game has complicated enough control schemes that it really does not map well to a controller. And the version of the game that came out for consoles has a simplified control scheme. There are just things you can't do on the console version of Origins. All right. We're ready to play. If I like to play Antics, I mostly like to play in isometric. I actually prefer this. You can see what's past the doorway. You can place party members in choke points, set them up. The strategy is improved by isometric, and I quite like the view. My mouse, we're actually able to scroll. So now I have to use the keyboard to zoom in. That's kind of a pain. No, there's nothing anyone can do about it, BD Gray. It's too complicated a control scheme. There aren't enough buttons on the controller. You have to have shifts and toggles and then memorize a fairly complicated control scheme. I've done it. You can make a gamepad control scheme. This is just a pain in the ass. Doesn't translate well.
Shouldn't you be off to your brother, as I asked?
I'm just trying to get my bearings here. Is sending all our forces south a good idea, Father?
When the king demands it. In fact, not sending our forces south would be a distinctly bad idea. Don't worry, pup. You shouldn't see many problems, but I want you to prepare the men left here, in case.
Yeah, that's part of it, Tevi. If you set up a gamepad control scheme, because it's a mouse-driven game, you have to use an analog stick to control the mouse cursor. If you've ever done that in an RPG, you know that you can lie to yourself and say, oh, this is fine. I can control that fine. That's fine. Bullshit. It's not fine. I've done it. I've put in hundreds of hours in RPGs like this one with gamepads controlling the mouse cursor, and it's not worth it for me in the long run. It's so not worth it. It's more trouble than it's worth. You shouldn't see many problems. I want you to prepare the men. In case. Case of what, Father?
Legends of the Blights tell of horrible things. These Darkspawn once threatened many lands. If we can't hold them, you must prepare for the worst.
Alright, now you're scaring me, Father.
I'm scared myself, but we are Kuslans, and we do what must be done. But let's not speak of ominous things. We shall assume that all will go well, and the Maker will watch over us.
Maker, watch over us. I'll go now.
I'll talk to you soon. Just let me finish my meeting with Duncan.
Let me see. I don't know if my Logitech... I'm using a trackball. It's the most comfortable thing for me to play this game with. I have a regular mouse and a trackball on hand. No, I'm not using a gaming mouse because I haven't had a good gaming mouse in years. No, it's all good. Good, man. Since forgotten. I don't think I have anything mapped to these. I have a couple buttons on here. I might be able to get my scroll onto this mouse, or I will during a break or for the next stream. It sort of depends on what I have mapped here. Ooh, there we go, baby. Zoom out, zoom in. Yes! Oh, that'll do. That'll do nicely. I don't have a scroll wheel on my, I'm using a marble mouse trackball. Because it's comfortable. What's up, Iceman? Yeah, I know. I don't even know what to do about that. It's either there all the time and then comments game, or it's not there and then it's all good. Bum bum bum. I will try to bring the camera down when there's action, when there's something going on, something that's worth looking at, but for much of the time I will pull it back into an isometric. So let's explore the castle a little bit. We're going to open every door. We're going to open every lock, every chest. We're going to grab everything, talk to everyone. Yeah, this is proper RPG through and through. Tons of codex entries. Tab key is a nice key in this game. Tab key will put little names over all the objects in the room. And that can be critical to figuring out where everything is. Oh, there's a book I can read up here. Well, that one's kind of obvious, but many aren't. New Codex, NXP, Andraste, Bride of the Maker. I have no particular plans for reading through all the Codex entries. There are a lot of them. If there are any Codex entries you remember, if you have some favorites, if there's any you want me to read, let me know. But what we can't do is read them all. There will just be too much.
Maker, prepare a place for us. Redeem our world from sin.
Celador, welcome.
Forgive our transgressions.
Maker, forgive us all.
Have you come to pray for your brother and father? I'd be happy to ask for the Maker's blessings with you.
So Old Bloodwolf has done some mod work as a mod for Dragon Age. Still up on Nexus. Oh. You come to pray for your brother and father? I'd be happy to ask for the Maker's blessings with you. I would appreciate that, Mother Malal. Father, may I?
Please, child. Call me Malal. I've known you since you were a wee babe after all. Creator of the sky, the land, and the sea. Hear your people in our time of need.
That's so cool. KG using his mod already. Maker watch over us.
Let no man have cause to fear the shadows. Let their souls be lifted upon your return. So let it be.
Maker, forgive us all.
There now. I'll be keeping a vigil tonight. You're welcome to come. There are many more who must receive the Maker's blessings before they leave. If you would excuse me.
Thank you, Malone.
It is the least I could do.
Actually,
If
could
the worst
press
comes
her
to
for more
pass, child, take
information.
comfort in knowing that the Maker's will takes many forms. We shall talk once the soldiers have departed.
So I may not end up exploring every dialogue branch with every NPC. I didn't really mean to skip over that, though. That just sort of happened absent-mindedly. I could go back. But if you see me skip over any dialogue possibilities that you'd like to hear that you're familiar with, let me know. So this was a locked door. If you don't play a rogue, you're not opening this door. Is it a big deal? No, but you get a little bit of XP here and there, some codex entries, maybe even a little bit of loot that could be useful. Open chest, elf root, crafting ingredients. We're going to be getting a lot of them. A lot of them are going to be throwaways. If you're not crafting very many things, and I will pretty much be crafting health potions. That'll be about the extent of my crafting, is health potions. I won't need too many things. Elf root and a few other ingredients, and most of the other crafting ingredients I get will get sold. Cost. Ready to roll, baby? How you doing? Let's take a look at the inventory. There's a lot in there already because Ultimate Edition of the game came with all the DLC and lots of little bonus bits and pieces. Healing items, the basic healing item prior to getting spells, and you will probably use them even after getting spells, are health poultices. Those are your potions. And elf fruit goes into making those. Everything else in my inventory is some sort of DLC bonus, and there's a lot, and some of these things are really powerful. And I can't use them all right away. Here's a one-handed dagger. Tier 6 dagger requires 26 dex. Here's a nice bow. Tier 5 dagger requires 24 dex. Helm of the Deep. So many things. So we'll get a chance to talk about stats on gear as we pick up gear and need to talk about the stats. Instead of trying to go through it all now and talk about what we're going to run into, let's wait till we run into it. Whisper, ready to roll, baby. No, I did not get your Whisper. Was it a long one? If it was a long one, it may not have gone through. Be nice, yo! This game is really good. It has the Baldur's Gate spirit. It does. I like to play it isometric a la Baldur's Gate. No, and don't kill me for this. I've never played Baldur's Gate. The intro, but I didn't play it back in the day. So I have picked it up with the remastered version that Beamdog did, but I haven't sat down to play it. Boots, helm, Blood Dragon plate. If you've played Mass Effect and Dragon Age, you might have the Blood Dragon armor in Mass Effect, like in Mass Effect 2. Well, the Blood Dragon armor is a Dragon Age crossover, and began as the Blood Dragon plate in Dragon Age. Bulwark of the True King. So many things. All these DLC Ultimate Edition freebies. Belts and rings, and I'll tell you, my favorite items in here, possibly my favorite item in here, is the Battle Dress of the Provocateur. It is a set of light armor. Tier 7 light armor requires 20 strength. That's why I need to pump the strength. I only have 12 strength as a rogue. But when I get to 20 strength, this rogue armor will provide dexterity, armor bonuses, dodge chance, stamina regen, and a stamina bonus. And it looks almost exactly like what she's wearing now, this kind of rogue skirt armor. I like it. I like it a lot. Got mage gear, kick-ass bows, all this stuff. So what am I going to put on right now? We have all these different slots. 2 weapon sets, primary hand, offhand. You better use the DLC items. Yeah, I do. Shadow Dragon, I do. I don't ditch them because they're too powerful or anything. And I kind of have my favorites. But I still need to look at them to remember what's what. Willpower, spell power, improves blood magic. Well, a rogue doesn't need that. Amulet, defense, spell resist, mental resistance. There are more things here than I've had before. Somehow, this installation through Origins this time set up with even more stuff than I've seen before. Health regen while exploring, armor, War Mage, Pearl of the Anointed. Well, there's a good one. Pearl of the Anointed, +1 to all attributes. Attributes, that's huge. Attribute bonuses are rare. +1 to everything is massive. High Regard of House Dace, 6 Cunning. Melee crit chance. When you get attribute bonuses from items in this game, if I remember correctly, that will allow you to equip things that have that requirement. So if a piece of armor required 20 strength and you were getting 6 strength from an item, you could equip that item that then required 20 strength. And I think you can even take off the stat bonus afterwards and keep the item on. And you would only have to put the stat bonus item back if you were going to re-equip the item. Armor of Sir Isaac. There's a Dead Space cross-promotion thing. I didn't know that. Jamie, you never did the Dragon Age games. They seem good, but a little out of your comfort zone. Well, hang out and enjoy. See if I can bring them closer to your comfort zone, maybe. Chance to dodge attacks, +1 armor. For now, sure. I'll just start equipping things. Rough leather boots. Gear comes in tiers, and the same named piece looted once and then looted again at the same tier should have the exact same stats. Although for each type of armor, I mean, there are different tiers. This tome gives the reader 1 point to spend on a skill, but is rendered useless afterwards. A free skill. Whether we use it now or not, use. Good. Did I use it? Did it not work? There we go. Tome of Skill and Sundries. Now that I've used it, I can go back to my skills. Why not? Can I not spend it except while leveling up? Boy, I'm so rusty. Character record, level up. Even though I haven't achieved a level, I think I have to go to this level up screen to actually spend the points. There it is, skills, 1 point. I can get a second rank of coercion as a freebie right away. Oh, hell yeah. Again. I should put that in the description. Hard difficulty. Let me add that. Novostrius, it's been a while, welcome. Yes, Origins, we're finally gonna play Origins. Finally! Constitution, mental resistance, physical resistance, it's a tier 3 steel heavy helmet. I don't think there are any, except for, I cannot do that. I cannot put that helmet on a rogue right now. I can't do that to Alyssa, sorry. Sorry, not gonna happen. Necklace, she gets cunning. Very appropriate. Amulet, amulet, amulet. Cinch of skillful maneuvering, +1 to all attributes. Yes, please. The lucky stone, +1 to all attributes. This is so OP. We've just got +3 to all attributes at the start of the game. We haven't even started doing anything. Constitution or health regen in combat and reduces hostility. So many bonuses. +1 to all attributes, or there's a different belt with +3 to cunning and a 5% dodge chance and monetary gain. Willpower, spell power. Oh my god, so many things. Pearl of the Anointed. One more ring. Let me see. Armor penetration, stamina regen in combat. With Booth. Can change these things. There we go. If I want to use any of the bows, I'm going to need to pump a bunch of decks. 24 for that one, and Sorrows is 34. The Silverite Dagger, I need 26 decks. It's going to be a while till I can use any of those weapons. Onward! Their Grey Wardens DLC is important. Lots of extra storage. One of what Shadow Dragon is talking about is a piece of DLC which you have to have if you want to have a stash. There is no place to put your overflow items unless you have the DLC that adds the stash to the game. Not too cool, right? Not too cool. I don't think anyone's a fan of being forced to buy DLC to have a place to put your gear. But it is what it is. When you start that DLC, when you get to the area where the actual combat takes place, the gear that you will receive as rewards will lock in. So if you go to the Grey Wardens DLC when you're getting tier 3 gear off of enemies, the armor set that you can get during that DLC will be approximately tier 3. Later, you can, if you went later when you're getting tier 5, tier 6 gear, you will get a better set of armor from that DLC. So even though I want the stash, I have to be wary of going to the Grey Wardens DLC area too soon if I actually want to take advantage of some of the stuff that comes out of it. I don't want to lock it in at a low level and then come back there and get loot that's useless. Although there is sort of a bug where you can force some of that stuff to level up by putting it in the stash and something. Procyon, you may not be a fan of not having stashes, but I love looking into the disappointed eyes of hoarders who have to sell all their useless shit. But I will bring you great joy.
Good evening, milady.
Good evening. Oh, Novostrius, I will. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I've played it quite a few times. Although it's been years.
Evening,
I don't think I've
milady.
played it in 2 years.
It shall be done. Very well.
Map. Map's not bad in this game. It's alright. Servants.
We will serve you well while the Terran is gone.
The Terran is gone. Terran Kuzland. We're the daughter of Terran Kuzland. Back where we started. Okay, so let's run through first hall again.
It is begun.
We're going through the rest of the doors. A few people to talk to, a few things to loot, a little bit of XP. We're going to squeak out an extra level somewhere in here just from opening chests. Weapon
well.
stands, iron mace. There's a lot, and there's always been a lot of generic
shall
loot
be
in the
done.
Dragon Age series. Throwaway loot, as well as things with stats you want to scrutinize. The worst of it is in Dragon Age 2. The loot in Dragon Age 2 is depressing. It is so generic and so boring. It's really kind of sad. The loot in Origins is good. You were just what? Playing cards? Taking a break? Ignoring your duties? You can see the cards, dude.
Well, the treasury's safe. I'm not even sure why the Terran stationed us here.
Hold that thought, Snowy. And if I space it, remind me. Did my father fear someone would steal something?
I don't know. Nobody has come to look at the treasury.
Oh, that was an answer to Be Nice, yo. How do you play a rogue or an RPG without constantly having only 5 free bags of slots out of 70? Yeah, ongoing problem with RPGs. The problem most of us have. Some people seem to have mastered it. Procyon doesn't sound like he has that problem. So, who has the key to the treasury then?
The Cairn. And perhaps the Turner? Honestly don't know, my lady.
Well, perhaps you better get back to work then.
Yes, my lady. Thank you, my lady.
I've never noticed this before. Look at how this sword is stuffed. The training dummy has a sword stuffed right through his junk. Cool. So they're guarding the treasury, and no lockpicking the treasury. Be back.
There you are. Your mother told me the Terran had summoned you, so I didn't want to interrupt.
Hello to you too, Sir Gilmore.
Pardon my abruptness, my lady. It's simply that I've been looking everywhere for you. I fear your hound has the kitchens in uproar once again, and is threatening to leave.
Did the dog get into the larder again?
No matter how the maids try to keep him out, he always finds a way in. You know these Mabari hounds. He'll listen to his mistress, but anyone else risks having an arm bitten off.
Knows better than to hurt anyone.
I'm not willing to test that.
Test it.
You're quite lucky to have your own Mabari warhound, you know. Smart enough not to talk, my father used to say. Of course, that means he's easily bored. Nan swears he confounds her just to amuse himself. At any rate, your mother would have me accompany you until the matter is settled, shall we?
To the kitchen then.
Just follow the yelling. When Nan's unhappy, she makes sure everyone knows it.
And actually lied to him. We're not going to the kitchen yet.
Good evening,
But he can tag along while we go learning and looting and exploring the castle. Before we talk to Aldous. Loot first, talk later. Book on the table, codex entry, a brief explanation of Ferelden culture. Reminder, if there are codex entries you'd like to hear, let me know, but there are a ton of entries. We won't be able to read them all. But by default, I'm not going to open up the codex every time I pick up an entry. There are sometimes 3 in a room, and on and on and on and on. But they are good, and if you're interested in any particular lore, let me know. We can go digging. Did I hit the box? History of Ferelden, Chapter 2. Codex, the history of Ferelden, up to the Orlesian occupation.
Hello, my dear girl. By chance, I am beginning to teach these young squires about your family's history.
Do we have to? History is boring.
Boys, you are referring to the Couslands, the very family in whose castle you live. Show some respect.
It's alright, it is boring.
I see you haven't changed. Perhaps it would benefit you to join our lesson?
Certainly, I'd be happy to. Tell us all about it.
Wonderful. Oh, the Cousland history is long indeed. Where shall we start?
At the very beginning, we've got all day. I'll set my watch for 2 hours. Go! Come to think of it, I got a split. When was our line founded?
Well, records are vague, but the Couslands became Tierns during the Black Age. Is that familiar, child?
You mean, notice the cunning prompt. Certain dialogue options will only be available based on attributes you might have. That could be your coercion, but it could also be a straight attribute like cunning. During the lycanthrope plagues?
Good. I'm pleased some of my lessons seem to have stuck. At that time, your family held only the minor title of Ban. When the werewolves reached this area, Ban Mather Cousland organized a curfew and patrols within the city. Several other local bands supported his efforts by swearing oaths of fealty, making him their Tiern.
So we predate the founding of the kingdom then, yes?
Well, I'm glad some of my lessons don't disappear into that yawning chasm between your ears, young lady.
Force him to repeat himself. your skill as a tutor. Your lecturing does lead to yawning. Hey, look, doing the best I can.
It seems you've already plumbed the depths of your potential then. A pity. At any rate, your family has held the Ternier of High Ever since before King Calenhad united Ferelden. In fact, Tierna Elethea Kuslan battled Calenhad to maintain High Ever's independence.
And Calenhad let us keep the Ternier.
Calenhad wished to unite Ferelden, not conquer it. After Elethea's men were defeated, Calenhad asked her to swear fealty. The boulder where they held council still stands today as a memorial of that event.
About our relationship with Arl Howe. That's who was out in the main hall, speaking with Father.
The history between the Kuslans and the Howes reaches back to the Orlesian occupation.
Go on.
During the rebellion against Orlais, several battles were fought near High Ever. The port village of Harper's Ford was the Ternier's center. Its Arl was Tarleton Howe. Though nearly 90, he was still as sharp and bitter as cheap ale. Your grandfather openly supported the rebellion, but Howe sided with Orlais. Your family was forced to seize Harper's Ford before it was all over.
But my father and Arl Howe are old friends. Bought the house. Guy out there, we used to fight his family.
Your grandfather couldn't afford to lose Harper's Ford. In keeping the town, your family drove Orlais from its lands. The Howes eventually joined the rebellion, when all of Ferelden united behind King Merrick and General Loghain. Just as now we united behind Merrick's son, King Cailan, to fight the Darkspawn.
Time to end the lessons.
Thank you for indulging an old man.
Oh, does that mean we have to listen to you now?
Silence! I will not have you two becoming smart-mouthed hooligans. But perhaps you should go. I doubt they need any more distraction. I'm just going to settle in here and apparently just talk to myself for all the
He runs off mumbling. Aha. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. Sir Gilmore, let's away. That's Nan, Cook, Mischief, Larder, yes. Before we go down that way, I think this, when I went exploring a little bit before, I think I opened up all these doors. Perfect. On to the kitchen. You hear the screaming? You have your volume up? Can you hear this? I've never noticed that. I've never noticed Nan freaking out like that in the background.
Get that bloody mutt out of the larder.
But mistress, it won't let us near.
If I can't get into that larder, I'll skin both of you useless elves. I swear it.
Nan!
Calm down, good woman. We've come to help.
You and you. Your bloody mongrel keeps getting into my larder. That beast should be put down.
He's not a mongrel. He's a pureblood. Perhaps you should lock your larder tighter. Look at option 4. Maybe you should be put down, Nan. Maybe you should be put down. He's no mongrel.
A blight wolf is what he is. How am I supposed to work like this?
Oh dear. Mistress, calm down, please.
That's it. I'll quit. Inform the Turner. I'll go and cook at some nice estate in the Banorn.
Nan, please. We'll get the dog. Calm down.
Just get him gone. I've enough to worry about with a castle full of hungry soldiers. You two, stop standing there like idiots. Get out of the way.
Now, what does every RPG begin with? What do you fight in every RPG? Maybe not anymore, but traditionally, we'd always fight the same thing. Always. No, not the dog.
Oh, look at that mess. How did he even get in here?
This dog has the best smile. Love it. Love it. Oh, oh, oh. What a smart boy you are. Oh, yes, you are. You trying to tell me something, boy?
It does seem like he's trying to tell you something. Wait, did you hear that?
Please enter a name for the dog. How about Ruff? Oh my god, it's rats. So, first look at the combat system. Isometric, Baldur's Gate style, classic RPG. You can do party selections in different ways. There are shortcuts. You can click on portraits to make selections. You can set everything up and micromanage it if you want, or let things play out in real time. But if I want Sir Gilmore to attack that rat, I can tell him to attack that rat. I can tell Ruff to attack that rat. I can tell Alyssa to attack that rat. I can even queue up an extra attack. What do we have here? The bar at the bottom. The bar at the bottom, which can be extended to hold more. Bring it to about here. We're eventually going to fill the bar with stuff. Everybody's going to have a full bar. Taunt. Precise striking, which is a sustained... Anyways, we haven't talked about sustained attacks yet. But you can set things up while it's paused, unpause, and let the action unfold. There are auto attacks. You can let your characters auto attack. I could have everybody on the same target. Everybody on the giant rat! Boom, giant rat's dead. Everybody on that giant rat! Boom, giant rat's dead. You can bring the camera in and get a little more flavor from the combat. Everybody on that rat! Everybody on that rat! On and on and on. Or you can just kind of let it play in real time, and there aren't, depending on the difficulty and your skills and your party, that works or it doesn't work. But I will be doing a lot more tactical pausing, especially as we get into the game.
Like the start of every bad adventure tale my grandfather used to tell.
Oh yeah,
the hound must have chased them in through their holes. Looks like he wasn't raiding the larder after all.
Blood spatter. It certainly looks that way.
Those were rats from the Kokari Wilds. Best not to tell Nan. She's upset enough as it is.
I don't know, I might have to
tell Nan. Seeing as you've got your Mabari well in hand, I'll be on my way. I'm to prepare for the arrival of more of the Isle's men.
Fruit. Blank Vellum. I think Blank Vellum, if I remember right, Blank Vellum is a good example of what the purely throwaway loot looks like in Origins. There will be things, almost sounds fancy. Can you inscribe something on it? No, I don't think you can. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe wizards.
There he is,
maybe
as brazen as you please, licking his chops after helping himself to the roast, no doubt.
I don't think there's any spell books or inscriptions. You get grimoires and you use those, but I don't think Vellum is required for anything. I think it's junk loot. Maybe someone remembers. There he is, brazen as you please. Actually, Nan, he was defending your larder from rats. Big ones. They were in all the food, Nan. Rats in the food. I'm gonna tell her.
What? Rats? Not the large grey ones.
They'll rip you to shreds, they will!
See, now you've gone and scared the servants. I expect those filthy things are dead.
Of course they're dead, Nan. My faithful warhound has made sure it's safe.
Oh, I bet that dog led those rats into there to begin with.
Nan?
Oh, don't even start with the sad eyes. I'm immune to your so-called charms. Here then, Take these pork bits and don't say that Nan never gives you anything.
Pork bits!
Bloody dog.
Yeah, Nan's clearly
Thank you, my
immune.
lady. Now we can
to
get
his
to
charms.
work. That's right, you two. Quit standing about.
So yeah, Shadow Dragon, I know the grimoires are very important, but the junk loot, the blank vellum, for a moment I was wondering, trying to remember if the blank vellum was something like a blank scroll mechanic. Junk loot. It's junk loot! Look, a cat! Also, Dragon Age series, not this game, but I think, is it Awakenings or is it 2 that has Sir Pounce-a-Lot? Sir Pounce-a-Lot's in Awakenings, isn't he? Cat named Sir Pounce-a-Lot. Pretty cool cat name. Alright, before we proceed, look at a couple more bits of the journal here. Or things. Character screen, stat screen, we use, we can get into the level up from here when we get special bonuses. Get an extra skill point, attribute point, whatever. We can go assign them from the level up screen, even if we haven't leveled up. Ruff is a party member now. Ruff! Mobari's actually a very good companion. Pretty powerful, too. It is Awakening. Sir Pounce-a-Lot's an Awakening. Awesome. Spells and talents, we can review the ones we've got. Skills, it was nice to have that DLC extra skill point. Have 2 ranks of coercion right off the bat. Third one's gonna take 14 cunning, we've already got it. Fourth one's gonna take 16, we've already got it. Beautiful. Inventory. I'll stick with my daggers for now, but we have all these goodies to play with already. This is the everything screen, but weapons, armor, accessories, belts, rings, things like that. Other stuff where healing items and junk end up, that's fun that they're mixed. Crafting items and plot items. The journal, Sulcher's Pass. Most of the DLC content is not showing up here yet, but it will. Kuzlins of Highever, Father's Task, your father turned, Bryce Kuzlind, and Arl Howe have been summoned by King Kaelin to the battle at Ostagar. However, Arl Howe's forces have been delayed. Been sent to tell your brother, Fergus, that he should leave for Ostagar ahead of your father. Fergus is probably in his room saying goodbye to his wife and child. Hey, Bubba, it's been a while.
And my dear Bryce
How you
brought
doing?
this back from Orlais last
Ringmaster, hello.
The Marquis who gave it to him was drunk, I understand, and mistook Bryce for the king. Ah, here is my lovely daughter. I take it by the presence of that troublesome hound of yours that the situation in the kitchen is handled?
Anne's head exploded, and my hound ate the kitchen staff. It's a glorious day, Mom.
Well, at least one of us will have had a decent dinner. Perhaps your hound left something I can feed my guests. Darling, you remember Lady Landra, Ban Lawrence's wife?
I think we last met at your mother's spring salon.
That's right, you were drunk. Of course, of course. It's good to see you again, my lady, the drunk.
You're too kind, dear girl. Didn't I spend half the salon trying to convince you to marry my son?
Yes,
and
you were
made
drunk.
a very poor case for it, I might add.
You remember my son, Dyron. He's not married yet either.
Don't listen to her. It's good to see you again, milady. You're looking as beautiful as ever.
Go soak your head. Thank you, thank you.
And this is my lady in waiting, Iona. Do say something, dear.
It is a great pleasure, my lady. You are as pretty as your mother describes.
You would think that it would make it easier to make a match for her, not more difficult.
Perhaps your daughter simply has a mind of her own, your ladyship. You should be proud.
Proud
Points
doesn't
for
get
him.
me any more grandchildren.
Did anyone say, what is the hairstyle called that Alyssa's got, where she has the 3 little tails? It's not pigtails, it's not ponytail. What do you call the 3 little tails she's got? It's all good, Matt. Lurk on. Enjoy. Thanks for letting us know you're going into lurk mode. It's good to know you'll be out there still. Proud doesn't get me any more grandchildren. Perhaps we should speak alone. Hey, mother, I can handle my own affairs.
All evidence to the contrary.
I think perhaps I shall rest now, my dear. Dyron, I will see you and Iona at supper.
Perhaps we'll retire to the study for now.
Good evening, your ladyship.
You called them dog ears, but only when there's 2. Yeah, and she's got that 3rd one in the back. I zoomed in all the way I am.
You should say goodbye to Fergus while you have the chance.
Mother, did you know there's a Grey Warden here?
Yes, your father mentioned that. You haven't got it into your head that you want to be recruited.
Oh, hells yeah! Come on, Mom, how awesome would that be? The Darkspawn have returned. Grey Wardens are needed.
There's enough here at the castle to occupy you. I don't need you off chasing danger like your brother.
That could be double Dutch braids. Is that it? I don't know my hairstyles, Snowy. I have a bad feeling about this.
As do I. Your father and brother are marching off to fight Maker knows what. All the assurances in the world don't comfort me. But it wouldn't help for us to take up arms and follow. Fergus and your father have their duty and we have ours.
I should go. Staying here at the castle, Mother?
For a few days. Then I'll travel with Lady Landra to her estate and keep her company for a time. Your father thinks my presence here might undermine your authority.
As you wish.
Good. I was worried you might be nervous about running the castle alone. I needn't have been concerned.
Come in. That there was. I'm not using any mods. Lars, not using any mods. No mods for Origins. They exist. But I didn't install any. I've never used mods for Origins. Let's come back to that for a second. Hello, Chi. Hello. We've established that KG uses lots of mods. Old Bloodwolf has created a mod for this game in the past that is still up on Nexus, an elf character model. Was that for this or Inquisition? For this, right? That was for Origins. Anyways, I'm not against it. I just didn't plan on it. I could add some mods to the game for tomorrow's stream. We're going to be playing Origins for at least a week. Let me come back to Snowy's question here, too, in the middle of this. Origins is a long game. Awakening is a long expansion. I have played Origins for an average of 50 to 60 hours a playthrough, and then Awakenings is like another 20 or 30 at least. Are we going to spend 100 hours on Origins? Probably not. Probably not. We're not going to rush it. I want to take my time. I want to talk to characters. I want to pull out the lore. I want to enjoy it. I want to have conversations about how much we've all enjoyed the game over the years. This is one of my favorite games, favorite series. So there's no rush, but maybe not 100 hours. Maybe not 100 hours. That being said, I know that Origins is kind of a slow-paced game. So Snowy, why are we playing Ghostbusters on Saturday in the middle of Origins? I'm going to experiment over the next 2 months with something I have not done much of in this stream. Taking a game that will be a week or 2 weeks long and mixing in some shorter games in the middle of it. So instead of doing a long game and then a short game and then a long game and then a short game, we're going to do part of a long game and then a short game and then finish the long game. Something like that. I'm going to mix it up a little more. It's an experiment. I am a big fan of the original Ghostbusters. I have no particular interest in the new film, but it's coming out. Is it coming out tomorrow? It's either out or about to come out. I'm out of the loop. Crash suggested the 2009 Ghostbusters game, I think it was an 2009 game, as something to play. It has the original cast doing the voice work for it, and it's considered the closest thing to a sequel third sequel to the original Ghostbusters series. So we're gonna mix it up. We're gonna spend Saturday with Ghostbusters and then come back to Origins, because Origins is gonna take like 2 weeks, at least 10 days of streams. Stash mod for camp. There may be a mod that gives you a stash, but there's also a stash in DLC. So we're gonna get the stash from the DLC. You make sure to only install lore-friendly mods. I'm not a heavy role player in terms of people who play MMOs and get into the character to a degree where you don't want to break the fourth wall. I don't go that far. But I can appreciate that. So I wouldn't want to add lightsabers to the game, example. But I am curious what mods we could play around with. Have I played that Ghostbusters? Mike, I've played a tiny bit of it, and I heard great things. I just never sat down to play it proper. So no, it'll be 99% blind. Sorry, Mother, to keep you waiting. This is good. I was worried you might be nervous about running the castle alone. Why can't I go with Father and Fergus? I was going to Tashi Station to pick up some power converters.
I know it's difficult to stay in the castle and watch others ride off, but we must see to our duties first. You understand that, don't you?
I understand, Mother.
Trust me. You'll get your chance for excitement soon enough.
Did Rage Mage seriously put lightsabers in Skyrim? He so would. That's awesome. Rage Mage is awesome. I love it. I should go.
I love you, my darling girl. You know that, don't you?
Love you too, Mother. Love you, Mom.
Go do what you must, then. I will see you soon.
Should have picked a male character so your voice acting would have fit better. Perhaps. But I am fond of the voice, the art, and even the role of a female Kuzlund as opposed to a male. I don't know. I kind of like it. She's the badass daughter. Her brother's supposed to be out fighting. She's supposed to stay home and watch the castle. Who becomes a Grey Warden? It's not Fergus. I like Alyssa becoming a badass warden. I think it's a great origin. It's proper. And I don't want to spoil anything, but we've already met some pivotal characters in this story.
It is begun.
Who will come back around. So, our goal is through that door. I want to kind of go everywhere else first.
Very well.
Key required. Key required.
It shall be done.
So I've played a female human noble a few times. I've played a male mage. I've played a female city elf. I've never played the Dwarven Origins. No, I've played this game many times. I've played this character more often, either as a rogue or a warrior. But the human female is definitely my my inclination in Dragon Age. You don't find them too relatable, Densa? I've talked about it some on stream. My first female character in an RPG was my second character in an MMO. I played Star Wars Galaxies from 03, and I wouldn't have thought of making a female character at all when I started. It wasn't even on the radar. But it was through playing MMOs and running into men who were playing female characters and going, "Oh, that's a thing, huh? Well, what's the appeal there? I didn't even consider it." But my first female character in Galaxies was sort of a revelation, and to this day, I usually enjoy playing a female character in RPGs more than a male. It depends. I mean, Geralt is perfect. Age of Conan, I played both male and female characters and like both quite a bit. But there's so many stereotypes and cliches in gaming, and even if female warriors have their own stereotypes too in gaming, I just think there's something more interesting and dynamic. It's not as simple as just people always say I want to stare at a woman's butt. That's an excuse. There's a lot more to it than that.
That sword, Oren. and I'll get you the mightiest one I
Nothing
can
wrong with the
find,
guy
I
playing a
promise.
female character or the
I'll
other
be
way
back
around.
before you know it.
I wish victory was
It's
indeed so
fantasy.
certain.
Enjoy it.
My heart is disquiet.
Don't frighten the boy, love. I speak the truth. And here's my little
Yeah,
sister
what Monkey
to
just
see
said.
me off. Now dry your eyes, love, and wish me well.
You should want to break out of your element. I'm not saying it's wrong to be a guy and play a guy because that's very normal, very natural, but video games are fantasy, and it makes sense that people want to invent a new character who's different from themselves. More food for thought on many levels. Why do we play games? For fun, but there's a complexity to that fun. A lot of it is food for thought. Here's my little sister to see me off. Now dry your eyes, love, and wish me well. No darkspawn could harm my brother Fergus.
He is as mortal as anyone, despite his refusal to believe.
Now, love, no need to be grim.
I bring a message. Did you know there's a Grey Warden in the castle?
Really? Was he riding a griffin?
Shh, Orin. Griffins only exist in stories now.
I'd heard that. Did he say why he's come?
He says he's recruiting.
Oh? If I were a Grey Warden, little sister, I'd have my eye on you. Not that father would ever allow it.
You really think the war will be over quickly?
Word from the south is that the battles have gone well. There's no evidence that this is a true blight, just a large raid.
Could that be true?
I'll see for myself soon enough. Pray for me, love, and I'll be back within a month or two.
Wish I could go with you.
I wish you could come. It'll be tiring killing all those darkspawn myself.
In Antiva, a woman fighting in battle would be unthinkable.
Is that so? I always heard Antivan women were quite dangerous.
With kindness and poison only, my husband.
This from the woman who serves me my tea.
I bring a message. Father wants you to leave. Without him.
Then the Arl's men are delayed. You'd think his men were all walking backwards. Well, I'd better get underway. So many darkspawn to behead, so little time. Off we go then. I'll see you soon, my love.
I would hope, dear boy, that you plan to wait for us before taking your leave.
Be well, my son. I will pray for your safety every day you are gone.
A good shield might be more help. He just might need those prayers. Fergus will be fine, Father.
I keep telling you, no darkspawn will ever best me.
Me?
The Maker sustain and preserve us all. Watch over our sons, husbands and fathers, and bring them safely back to us.
And bring us some ale and wenches while you're at it. For the men, of course.
Fergus, you would say this in front of your mother?
What's a wench?
What's a wench? Is that what you pull on to get the bucket out of the well?
A wench is a woman that pours the ale in a tavern, Orin. Or a woman who drinks a lot of ale.
Bryce, Maker's breath. It's like living with a pair of small boys. Thankfully, I have a daughter.
I'll miss you, mother dear. You'll take care of her, sister, won't you?
Mother can handle herself. Always has.
It's true. They should be sending her, not me. She would scold those darkspawn back into the deep roads.
Well, I'm glad you find this so funny.
Enough, enough. Pup, you'll want to get an early night. You've much to do tomorrow.
And we just leveled. And we wouldn't have leveled if we hadn't had the bonuses from opening all those doors and chests already. Proper level. So, attribute points. 3 points for the level. What did we need? We needed 20 strength to use that DLC armor. But Dex is our primary stat. Cunning's already groovy. Cunning's good for now. We'll pump it up later. Dex, let's, we want to get to, I think, 24 Dex or 26 as soon as possible. There's some items that become available. And then we want to get strength up to 20 as soon as possible so we can wear that badass armor. I don't know. Let's do dex and then strength. Look at this. We haven't even started the game yet, and we already have 3 ranks of coercion. How cool is that? We're going to have conversation options out the wazoo. We'll have coercion maxed before you know it. Balance. Dual weapon. Now you can see we don't have everything available. I don't have improved combat training yet. I know I could go back and take improved combat training and open up a second tier of skills. But coercion, when you have dialogue options that pass you by, that aren't available, you won't be getting back to that conversation later. You can always skill up later. You can always go level and skill up later. So, coercion, and I have to take another base skill. Dual weapon sweep is the one I want. You end up going whoosh with your weapons. Just got mentioned. Was that Boom, did you say? Something about the beheading animation? Someone mentioned the beheading animation, but yeah, you've got these great animations with dual wielding. I think the dual weapon sweep is that one. Okay. So it puts itself on the toolbar. At some point, I will organize this toolbar kind of into sections. I will put my offensive skills in the first few slots and maybe group up the healing skills and put a bunch of consumable items at the end of the bar. Doesn't matter too much for now, except I will get used to where these things are, and I will start to program my muscles to hit them. So if I put things in certain places now, I might get stuck on them. So I gotta at least think about where I want them. Dual weapon sweep. There we go.
I have detected
It's
a
cool.
signal embedded in the
It's
static.
cool. Lars himself, thank you for the follow. Thank you, Lars. Welcome aboard the Starship Chaos. Cheers. Somehow, Lars, I thought you might have been here before. Maybe your name was mysteriously more familiar. I'm so glad we're playing this. I really hope you all enjoy this tremendously. I have been a bit on the fence about getting this game on the schedule, in part because its pacing is so... It's not a fast-paced game. It's very cerebral, and it's a proper classic RPG. I hope you enjoy the heck out of it. I sure do. Here we go. What's wrong, boy? Someone out there?
My lady, help me! The castle is under attack!
Behind you! Oh, it's too late. Not only that, but they actually start you in your skivvies. Pretty cool. She's cute, right? I think so. I like it. So many games have the most boring underwear by default. Look at this. It's not bad. It's black and white. I like it. Simple colors. It's good. Cover up. No! I will run around in my skivvies. Because I want to. Gloves, boots, armor. Incidentally, you had a chance to get laid and be interrupted by this. Really? I didn't know. Wombat, please share. What are we talking about? News to me. Where's my Oh, I had 2 daggers. Also, let me get the health poultice on the bar. Still gonna take most of today's stream, I think, to get used to a lot of my skills and everything. Dual weapon sweep. The dirty, what's it called? Dirty fighting. The kick. Oh, there's the beheading. There's that beheading. That's what we're talking about. So it is turn-based. You can see my health and stamina in the upper left corner. My stamina is depleted, being depleted, half depleted. But anytime you want to, you can pause the action and turn it into a more tactical situation. If I want Ruff to attack this guy and I want to attack this guy and we split the enemies, we can do that. And then Ruff goes after the one who's whacking on my backside. And notice he's changed his attention to Ruff. As soon as I take down that Hao soldier, I switch and boom. Well, whoosh, he was already dead.
Darling, I heard fighting outside and I feared the worst.
Hey, Koala, what's
hurt?
up? Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Are you hurt? I was about to ask you that. Mother, are you okay?
They never got through the door, thanks to you. A scream woke me up. There were men in the hall, so
Snowy,
I barred
are you
the
off?
door.
I missed that.
Did you
Good
see
night,
their
Snowy.
shields? Those are Hal's men. Why would they attack us?
He's betrayed father. He attacks while our troops are gone.
You don't think Hal's men were delayed? On purpose?
Yes.
Bastard. I'll cut his lying throat myself.
I'll hold him down.
Have you seen your father? He never came to bed.
I haven't, Mother.
We must find him.
Should check on Oriana and Orin as well.
And trust his mercy. What if the soldiers went into your brother's room first? Let's check on them quickly. Then we'll look for Bryce downstairs.
So, after a battle, you do loot bodies. Sometimes the loot on a body, notice how this body has no loot and that one's sparkling and has loot. Sometimes you won't get the hitbox for picking up the loot right away. Before we go in there. Bitch, frack. Also bad. It's also... Look at what's happened here.
No! My little Orin! What manner of fiend slaughters innocents?
I'll make
I
them
was not
pay.
even taking hostages. He means to kill all of us. Oh, poor fuckers. Let's go. I don't want to see this. Perhaps we can salvage some things here, darling.
It shall be done.
Dagger, greatsword, longbow, small shield. You get a
Some of your
few
father's
basic
belongings
weapons.
are in
If you
that
want
trunk.
to change up your gear, you get some loot that allows you to do that. Elf root. Seriously, the only thing in that locked chest was one piece of elf root. Really? Really now?
I shall do it.
Elf poultice, grease trap. So the traps in this game, I imagine they're pretty useful if you actually put them to use. I don't use poisons and traps.
Enemies ahead!
You can have the game auto pause when enemies show up. I have that off for now and I can't remember why. Doesn't matter. You go into isometric tactical view, you can get a really good sense of who's in the next room. If you're zoomed in over the shoulder, there's only so much you can see. But the tactical view gives you so much more. That the tactical view was gone from Inquisition really bummed me out, or from Dragon Age 2 bummed me out. That they brought it back for Inquisition, but kind of half-assed it because the combat was so different by that point. Was a little frustrating to me. I got so excited by the potential for having micromanagement of my party in Inquisition, and it didn't fulfill my wishes. Not quite. Everybody on the soldier.
Right away.
We'll talk about choke points and real strategy later. Oh, low! Stunned. They're still fighting.
I will drive you from your land.
Growl leveled up. I forgot to level up Growl. What am I doing here? Oh, I'm stunned. Or I can't attack. Dual weapon sweep. So, look at the health bar in the upper left. Once combat is done, your health goes back up very quickly. But you don't need to use healing items between battles. Really only during combat. Koala, you were bummed out by the combat in Inquisition, especially near the end. On one hand, I like the action combat that they introduced in 2 and improved in 3. On the other hand, I prefer having the classic fine control.
Oh, dear Landra. I'm so sorry.
That's the woman we met.
If she hadn't come to me.
Wanted to pair us off with her son.
If she hadn't been here.
As you say.
Greenstone, there are garnets and diamonds and other precious stones. Most of those are just for sale. There are a couple situations in the game where I think you maybe trade them for something or do something different with them. Generally, they're just sale items, a lot of them. Deep Mushroom, that's the other one. Deep Mushrooms and Elf Root are the consumables, the crafting consumables I will be collecting. And the rest I'll probably sell. The entire castle is under attack. We're gonna go through the whole place. We're gonna try and poke our nose into every corner again. You hear the of course I can hear the fighting, Mother. How do we get out of the castle?
The servants' passage leads out from the larder. But we must find your father first. The front gates. That's where your father must be.
We can't just let Hal win.
Listen, darling. We haven't much time. If we can't find your father, you must get out of here alive. Without you and Fergus, the entire Kusen line dies here. If Hal's men are inside, they must already control the castle.
I am going to take a break in a second
Use the
here.
servants entering the larder to escape. Do you hear me?
I hear you, Mother. I want Hal dead. I want him dead. Head on a pig pole. Don't need to tell me twice.
Then let us be swift.
Okay. We're 2 hours in, so I am going to take a break. If you're new here by any chance. I do take breaks every 2 hours. We've got 6 hours tonight. And 6 hours tomorrow. What day is today? Today's Wednesday. And then 8 hours on Friday. Saturday's a 12-hour stream, and normally we would just continue the game in progress, but the next 2 months I'm going to do things a little bit differently. So we're going to be playing Origins for about 2 weeks, and we'll play Ghostbusters on Saturday in the middle. We'll probably play something after this before starting the next game, and the next big game, we're going to go, we just finished Mass Effect 1. We're going to go Mass Effect 1, Dragon Age Origins, with some other stuff mixed in and in between. Then Mass Effect 2, then Dragon Age 2. With some other stuff mixed in between, in the middle. And then we're going to do Mass Effect 3 and Inquisition. So the next 2 months are going to be sort of a BioWare RPG blitz, but we'll do other stuff as well. And I'm going to do some more experimenting with the schedule and try mixing some games in the middle. Rogue. We are a rogue. Welcome, Daniel. How are you doing? So I'll be back in about 10 minutes, and we'll continue. We'll bust our way out of the castle and begin following the path towards our destiny as the hero of Ferelden. Talk to you all soon. It's so sudden when the music stops. Hold on. Here we go. Music. Music.